What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, leave it up to Oscar De La Hoya to try to make boxing right. Now, I've always liked Oscar De La Hoya, even as a fighter. Strong resume, good beard, gave us some classic moments. His fights with Shane Mosley, Trinidad. I thought he beat Felix Tito Trinidad. His game plan at the very end, the last couple rounds, was weird. His beef with the bad blood with Fernando Vargas. And then Oscar as a promoter. Him and Schaefer put together classic matches, then they kind of parted ways. So I've always liked Oscar. Some people don't like him for whatever reason. They choose to do the low blows and talk about the coke and the cross dressing and shit like that. But one thing I like about De La Hoya is he's staying true to his attitude. He says he wants to bring boxing back and give us good fights, and it looks like he's at least trying to do it. Now he's gonna have some competition because Al Heyman is definitely stepping up and trying to bring boxing back to primetime TV. So he has some stiff competition dealing with that powerhouse. We know Al Heyman has a lot of fighters, but Al Heyman, Oscar De La Hoya, he recently spoke with Dan Rayfield of ESPN, so shout out to him. And he's in negotiations and talks to try to make the fight with Leo Santa Cruz, his fighter, and Guillermo Rigondeaux. And I think it's a good fight. It's a unification. And it's finally looking like this fight could happen. And I'm glad that De La Hoya is on board with this, because oftentimes you get promoters, even with Canelo. I think De La Hoya babied Canelo a bit. And I was just like, man, you say this kid's the truth, pop the titty out of his mouth and put him in there with somebody who's on the up and coming. And they did that with Austin Trout. And since then, Canelo has had a very strong resume of fighters, whether he won or lost or whatever. He's still been in front of good competition. But before that, he was in there with a lot of fading fighters and guys who were just past it, much smaller than him, etc. So I'm glad he's not babying Leo Santa Cruz, because I like Leo Santa Cruz, and I've said it and I made separate videos, but I really call this boxing shit down the middle. If someone does something that I approve of, I swear to you guys, I will tell you that. I'll be like, oh, that was a good performance. I don't think Leo Santa Cruz's last performance was that great. He looked like ring rusty or some shit. He didn't look like he was getting off with his shots. I've seen him look much better against better competition. In fact, he was against Jesus Ruiz, pretty much a bum at best. You know what I'm saying? A journeyman. And he just didn't look great. And I don't even think he gave himself that high of a report card on that performance. So let's see him fight. He's undefeated. He has a belt. Rigondeaux has a belt. Make this fight happen. So it's good what Oscar De La Hoya is doing, in my opinion. And I guess behind closed doors, he's trying to talk with Gary Hyde and make the Rigondeaux fight. That is what is right. And this boxing shit is so funny to me. It's like these fans are so fickle. It's all a matter of like popularity. It's a popularity contest and favoritism. And what I mean by that is, let's say fighters like Amir Khan. You're a huge Amir Khan fan. He's calling out the top guys who have been in the sport 15 plus, 18 years at the top, champions, and people embrace it. If the diehard Amir Khan fans say, fuck Kell Brook, I'm glad he's calling out Mayweather. I'm glad he's calling out Pacquiao, even though those guys are at the very top of the totem pole in their division, and not even just their division, in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Those guys are really at the top. They're the biggest paydays. If you were to fight anybody in the sport, those would probably be the two biggest paydays you'll get from fighting those two guys, right? There's no real disputing that. They're the cash cows. They're respected, etc. Whether you like Mayweather or not, I mean, he's a brand, he's a business. So I'm not even going to get into all that. So my point being, like a diehard Amir Khan fan, for example, they'll embrace it. Even though Amir Khan's not a champion at 47, and they'll say, I like the fact that he's calling out. And then some of those same people will badmouth a fight with Rigondeaux, which is a unification. Now, Pacquiao fighting Amir Khan could be a good fight. Pacquiao fighting Mayweather could be a good fight. However, the world wants to see those two fight each other, Mayweather, Pacquiao. Plus, there's no unification there. It's not like Khan's a champion. So it's funny how boxing fans operate in their mentality. They'll say, I like the fact that Amir Khan is calling out guys who are established champions, and he's not one. Yet there's some people who make excuses for why Leo Santa Cruz shouldn't fight Rigondeaux. That's bullshit, man. Take boxing back to the throwback days. Two people are champions. This guy's supposed to be the best. This one's popular and rising. Pit them against each other and see what the fuck happens. It's a unification. That's how boxing should be. Not Leo Santa Cruz versus a guy who got knocked out 2 fights ago or 3 fights ago or whatever in Abner Matas. And I like Matas. He's respected too. But why not have a unification fight and then fight Frampton or some shit? You know what I mean? Take boxing back to its core. And I like what Oscar's doing. He's saying that he's in talks with the Rigondeaux camp. He really wants to put this fight together. And I don't know for a fact. I mean, this is my take on it. I don't think Leo Santa Cruz so much wants to fight Rigondeaux, but more or less he wants to fight him to get him off his back. Like, I think he knows stylistically that's a handful. You know what I'm saying? He's an Olympian. He's skilled. And you could say all the shit you want about the boring style and all that bullshit, but I think he's willing to fight him because the pressure is mounting and it's becoming so much every time he does a post-fight press conference, a weigh-in or whatever, and then they interview him, people are bringing up Rigondeaux, and that's what more fans need to do. So I think Rigondeaux is finally getting some of the respect that he deserves, and in my opinion, Leo Santa Cruz is willing to face him just because he realizes at this point he can no longer shun Rigondeaux and just talk shit, say, oh, he's boring. Rigondeaux's last fight was more exciting than Leo Santa Cruz's last fight, truth be told. You know what I mean? Rigondeaux versus Magasa in Japan was way more exciting and thrilling with knockdowns than Leo Santa Cruz versus Jesus Ruiz. So I think Santa Cruz realizes it's go time. There's not really... He's like cornered. There's not really much he can do or say about Rigondeaux. He's a champion. His last fight was more exciting than yours. He has a higher knockout percentage than you. And I think he's kind of backed into a corner where he has to fight this guy. Otherwise, it's going to forever haunt him and almost be an asterisk on his resume. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Abner Matas fought Rigondeaux first, then it's just like, damn. It's kind of like Sergey Kovalev versus Bernard Hopkins. Like, damn, you let a 50-year-old Bernard Hopkins fight instead of Adonis Stevenson, and it just made Adonis Stevenson look really bad. So if someone else fought and beat Rigondeaux, it's going to make Leo Santa Cruz look really bad, especially if it's like, let's say, at Abner Matas, which I don't think he would beat Rigondeaux, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if Abner Matas went on to face Rigondeaux and beat him, then it makes Leo Santa Cruz look bad, just like Adonis Stevenson looked bad when Kovalev and Bernard Hopkins was signed. So I like what Oscar's doing here. They're talking about making this fight for the springtime this year, and good. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need to fight Abner Matas. And actually, truth be told, I don't have any problem with Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Matas fight in terms of like style. Like, they both have an exciting quote unquote Mexican style or whatever, so it could be a good firefight. But that's not the fight that needs to happen. We need to get back to prioritizing in the sport of boxing and doing what unification. You can't tell me that a unification needs to be on the back burner for a popular rising star who's young, he really fought sparring partners. He has a couple solid names, and he needs to graduate to that next level. It's like Leo Santa Cruz. It's like he's been in the 8th grade for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, when are you going to graduate and go to high school? You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel with him. So it's that time. So again, there's no sense in having him fight guys who have taken recent losses and shit like that. 2 undefeated fighters, a unification champion, 2 champions. Make it happen. So shout out to Oscar De La Hoya for trying to get it done. And Rigondeaux seemed a little bit surprised that De La Hoya was trying to get it done. But I like this move from De La Hoya. And again, he has to compete with Al Heyman. So make some quality fights. I'm all for it. I support this match. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.